Welcome back to.
Russia, you war, of course.
All right, we are up on the sites. Think everybody's rolling today? Yep, Substack, Instagram's working, Twitch, YouTube. Everything sounds all right, looks all right. Oh my God. I should hope so after the effort that I put into it. All right, one more minute and I'm ready to get up. Hold on. Oh God. Almost there. Almost there. Almost. Very exciting. Hit the like, share the show, annoy the maggot in your life, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do it. All right, I have to find one more thing though. Is it? Yeah, it is. Okay, this is it.
R.
All right, come on now. Let's see if this works. I have been busting my hump for you guys the last little bit. I don't know if you saw the Instagram picture I put up, but good Lord, ladies and gentlemen, I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning, basically just pulling wires everywhere and reshuffling things, establishing every important piece of gear on its own USB-C bus, Thunderbolt bus, and so that it doesn't overlap. And apparently there are some gremlins in some of the gear that I use, which is not surprising to anyone, but that if they get stacked with other things, they will often get confused and do a kind of Chip and Dale digitally. No, after you. No, after you. No, after you. And then nobody goes through the door and they both bump into each other like it's Three Stooges, ultra maroon, boink, and so digitally. But I think I've got it worked out. Ha! Famous last words. Also, the internet came back on midway through yesterday's show because I was like, man, this is rock solid. I should do this on my iPad all the time. It just turns out the Ethernet was still plugged in and it came back on in the middle of the show, right about the time the hit would have fit the shan. So, hi, everybody. Good to see you. Hello. Newsom is live. Is he giving a live address? Is he doing it from the gym in jeans? Hold on. Let's see. Our future president, who's I guess in charge of dunking. He President Dunk a lot. Newsom, let's see, live. Let's see, Democratic defending democracy. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So this is let's see. This is defending democracy live. Is stepping up. Let's see. They introduce him. The man, the tallest dude. Here you go. There you go. Let's check out Newsom because he's been having a lot of fun at Trump's expense lately. It's amazing to me that some of the media have portrayed it as like him stooping to Trump's level when they do not attack Trump's level. You can't say it's below the governor of California to act a certain way when you ignore when the president does it. Period. Shut the fuck up. So let's jump right in, hit that like, share the show, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Here he comes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To all of the leaders that are assembled here today, thank you for an outstanding job. Thank you for your faith and devotion to this larger cause, democracy, that I think should unite all of us, regardless of our political party and political stripes. Let me just briefly reinforce, because I'm eager to sign a bill that no other governor in U.S. history has ever signed, a bill that will put the maps in front of the voters. We will be the first state in U.S. history to, in the most democratic way, submit to the people of our state the ability to determine their own maps. That simply has not been done. But I want to first just briefly back up and pick up a little bit on what the Speaker and the Pro Tem said, and just remind everybody what they reminded you that need to be reminded, all of us again, of how we got here. We got here because the President of the United States is struggling. We got here because the President of the United States is one of the most unpopular presidents in U.S. history. We got here because he recognizes that he will lose the election. Congress will go back into the hands of the Democratic Party next November. We got here because of his failed policies.
So far, so good.
Being exposed hour by hour, reinforced today by
I think he'll make me a great vice president. I'm just saying.
Walmart announcing they'll be raising prices because of the tax increases, because of the tariffs. Reminded every day by a slowing economy, growing mistrust, distrust all across this nation, across the board. He is failing. He recognized that, and that's why he made a phone call to Greg Abbott asking for 5 seats. Can't win by playing by traditional sets of rules. He plays by no rules. I remind you all the time, it's not the rule of law, it's the rule of dawn. And we're standing up to that. We're responding to that. They fired the first shot, Texas. We wouldn't be here had Texas not done what they just did. Donald Trump didn't do what he just did. He went so far as to follow up and say that he didn't just want those 5 seats. He said he's, quote unquote, entitled to those 5 seats.
Oh no! Oh no! I like that. I like that he's got hype men and women behind him.
Pause and reflect on that.
Okay. Yeah, that's terrible.
Everything should have just stopped there. President of the United States claiming he's entitled to 5 seats. That should put chills up your spine. Every Republican.
Dude thinks he's entitled to grab women by their genitalia. He thinks he can grab women by their seats. You think this asshole cares about the electorate? Okay, but you get my point. I'm for this.
Just Democrat and independent. Every American, those enduring values that we celebrate, just celebrated 249 years, the best of the Roman Republic, Greek democracy, the rule of law, co-equal branches of government, popular sovereignty. What we'll celebrate, will we? next year, the 250th
Yes, we will.
anniversary. Masked men at the site of the Japanese that were interned and bussed in Little Tokyo last week in Los Angeles were sent right there in front of the Democracy Center as we kicked off this effort. That's a preview of things to come all across the United States of America. Mark my word, just as we let folks know what was going to happen in other cities, what is happening in Washington, D.C., we said 2 months ago, Los Angeles is a preview of things to come with the federalization of the National Guard, with the militarization of the streets of America. And I'll remind you, Donald Trump never sent the military, active duty military, in his first term or now even his second term, anywhere overseas. He sent them to a United States city. They remain federalized National Guard, interestingly, through Election Day. $175 billion in the bill that was just signed to reinforce the ranks of ICE, Homeland Security, for what is increasingly becoming self-evident to anyone with eyes wide open and any level of objectivity, a private army for Donald Trump.
Yeah, except it isn't. I appreciate this conversation. It's very good. I don't really have any notes. So, cool. The only thing I would say is my dear friend Gavin Newsom, with whom I marched from Harvey Milk Square to the Supreme Court building in San Francisco when he was still mayor. I believe even when Kimberly was still in his life, back when she was, she didn't have any aftermarket parts, I guess is how we'll put it. Had a great conversation with him in the days leading up to that and on the day. And I will say that I feel like I have the right to say this. Lozenges. Also, I don't know if it's dairy or someone has talked you into a vegan or vegetarian diet, and you have to watch out for nightshades and other things because they'll come up on you, especially if you have to talk a lot. So if you want to clarify your voice, not too late, but you will, his voice, because you're going to have to do all a shit ton of talking, buddy, when you run for president, I would say protect your voice. Maybe even, I think we could all chip in and get him, I don't know if he needs like the Alexander method or something like that. But I'd be glad to give you some notes on having a beautiful, clear, bell-tone voice, my friend. And anybody can do it. You just gotta speak from your diaphragm and don't eat anything that comes back on you. That'd be the thing. So I'm just gonna leave that there. You wonderful people. Oh, where's that? Hold on. The chat room is in here. There it is. Hi. Whoops. And then I need to put another button. I revised all my buttons as well. I genuinely, can I just say for the record, I genuinely like the dude. He's a good person. I have been able to spend some time with him. It's been a while. And I think he's only improved since then, because anybody who was already a pretty decent person when I met them and then ends up brooming Kimberly Guilfoyle from their lives has definitely continued to improve. That's that Connie, constant and never-ending improvement, CANI. But yeah, yes, absolutely, Aaron. My buttons need pushing, apparently. I one of these days I'll have pushing buttons. Rob Glenn can help me with that, I suppose. But all right, so let's get on with our show today, because we have plenty of panic to deal with, and I'm very excited about all of it. Now, just in case, I put out a thing earlier about how anything not to talk about Epstein. You've got Glenn Beck, and I'm not going to do the clip of Glenn because where is it? Here it is.
With today's top story.
Shut up. This is the reload and don't play, will you? There we go. This is chat room, if I may. This is this is the thumbnail. Does Glenn have a new sponsor? Oh no. Oh no. Apparently, Cracker Barrel has decided to change their logo from the weird organ-shaped. That's all I'm gonna say, because I don't have that button right now. The weird organ-shaped button, shape there around the word Cracker Barrel, with the wispy K going into the R and the thing, and the weird barrel with the old redneck singing in front of it going, "My wife's in here. Strangled her dead. Chopped her up into chunks, and I had to use a rake to push her down in there. Sealed it good and tight." Old country store, which it is not. It's a restaurant. So anyways, they changed their logo. And the reaction couldn't be worse if they'd have changed it to Cankle Barrel. So, needless to say, the right wing is, using this as another distraction to not talk about Epstein, create some sort of bizarre, nobody gives a fuck social issue to cause controversy, whatever. This is like mid-level PM magazine shit from the 80s. But, is it this one? No, it's not this one. Yeah, there we go. Cracker Barrel goes woke. Jimmy Dore. Cracker Barrel removes cracker and barrel from company logo. I guess the cracker would be the old white guy sitting in the chair. Although I don't know that you can tell. You can't necessarily tell the race of the person from that. He's sort of a orangey beige. And I don't know what's happening with his leg split on one side of it. Is there another giant leg to the right? Does he have 2 feet on his right leg? It's a really odd drawing. And he's on a stool, like a high back stool. It's very odd. So anyways, apparently the cracker he's referring to that person being the cracker and the barrel being what it is. And Cracker Barrel has rolled out a new logo and remodeled its locations, which many are viewing as part of the ongoing corporate culture war that had an apotheosis recently with the controversy over Bud Light hiring trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney as a holy shit. What? We got to do something to not talk about Epstein, right? Okay.
First, they came for Aunt Jemima. And I said nothing because
you can't read Kurt's jokes off a paper right in front of you and fuck them up, you tool. First, they came for Aunt Jemima. Right.
Black. Then they came for Land O'Lakes, and I said nothing because I'm not an Indian. Then they came for Cracker Barrel. Do you know that?
That would be because Jimmy thinks of himself as a cracker. Do you know how stupid this shit is? Also, clean up your desktop. God damn.
Restaurant Cracker Barrel. I mean,
yeah.
I like.
No, I don't know the restaurant Cracker Barrel. Is it some relation to Milton?
Do you know that restaurant Cracker Barrel?
Nope. It is. Do you guys know Cracker Barrel?
Yeah, I like Cracker Barrels. Not just because I'm a white cracker.
Is there another kind? Also, no, you're not. Cracker has to mean something, or it doesn't mean anything at all. It's not just being white. You have to be kind of a white Southerner for it to apply. Otherwise, you're a Yankee, I suppose. I think you're just a fraud, so we'll just leave it at that.
The city.
Oh, I didn't make that connection until you said that.
Yeah, and so
I never noticed that.
So this used to be their old logo.
Yeah,
it's Cracker Barrel, and it was the barrel and a cracker right next to it.
Yeah.
No, it was a barrel full of crackers. You'd sit there and eat. Everybody gather around the Cracker Barrel. That's which nobody does.
Right. Oh. So now they have this lady in charge. This is their.
Oh, I see what it is. So when women, thank you, Jimmy, for putting your foot down. and finally getting to the heart of the problem. Women should not be running businesses because they fuck everything up. Apparently.
The Mulvaney movement, this lady, and she got rid of the crack.
What? Hold on. Why is this a Dylan Mulvaney moment? First of all, she's a biological woman, insofar as I know, so I don't know where there would be a parallel. Secondly, she's not the spokesperson. She runs the fucking place. She's actually in charge of the goddamn thing.
And the barrel. And now it's just she said this is an improvement.
How?
How?
You should put the cracker in the barrel. Put the guy in the barrel, then it's better.
There it is. That's the new one.
Thank God we're dealing with this. And obviously this is just emblematic of the problem that's created when women run things. Please continue, Jimmy.
Oh, so much better.
And wokeness says Cracker Barrel has fallen. So much better.
But what was the need for that replacement?
So Cracker...
Oh, because she's part of this. She's obviously, because she cares about LGBTQ plus people, she's doing this just as a dig at white people like Jimmy and Kurt. What the shit?
Yeah, I don't understand.
There's this Cracker Barrel LGBTQ Alliance. So I don't know.
And
it has anything to do with any of that.
I mean, I'm not. It's right back to back, so I'm not clear on how that's helping the gays out.
But this guy made a video, and it sounds like he's being funny. So let's listen.
oh, okay, so you're borrowing other people's jokes for your shitty show. He did a funny video, so let's just play it and use that content. How about this? I have a better idea. Fuck you. What the... Again, anything not to point out the fact that Jimmy and these assholes that work for him and around him helped get Donald Trump elected and are proud of it. Period. How bottom of the fucking... You do realize... I mean, there's a fucking war in Sudan. There's lots to talk about in the world. You're never going to run out. So the idea that you would chase down shit like this, woof. God damn. And his argument is, so far as we could see in that, and nobody needs to watch any more of it, and if he brings it home and goes, no, actually, I'm for all this because fuck crackers or something, yeah, I won't hold my breath. But they're jumping on this because they know maggots are freaking out and they want to appeal to that crowd because that's where the Ruska money is. All right. Now, apparently, Just Dance Pants has a message for Elon Musk. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc.
Mr. Vice President, thank you for having us here today.
Good to see you.
So you had quite
It's good to be had.
eventful morning
We did.
over at Union Station, as we saw in that clip. Tell
Oh, yeah, this is after he went over there and was, asked if Trump taps him on the top of the head when he's ready to swallow or whatever.
us about how you decided to go over there. You know, a lot of us D.C. residents.
Well, you don't actually think he has anything to actually do you? For real. Sorry. Laura Ingraham, explain to me what you fucking think this asshole does all day. The vice presidential spot is always a bit of a figure-based spot anyways. You don't have any legal authority. You can't sign bills or do any of that stuff. So you're kind of a placeholder in case the guy in the front of the line kicks off. But you can be assigned certain jobs and that kind of thing. But he hasn't been entrusted with anything. Say what you will about the successes or failures of previous vice presidents when they've been assigned things. But this dickhead is just dangling.
D.C. residents know it well, but it's
Yeah.
been the site of a lot of crime in recent years.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
And you decided
Have you seen the price of milkshakes at Shake Shack?
to pay a visit. What happened?
Well, so a couple things. So first of all, I had heard from a couple of friends who used to avoid Union Station because there were vagrants and there were crazy people screaming at kids that they
They thought I would fit right in. So I decided to go over there
avoided Union Station.
and fuck a couch. Yeah, and they played over the loudspeakers.
Couch humping, jumping, feel the beat, take it higher, can't retreat, feel the rhythm, can't deny, couch humping, reach the sky.
Sorry. Anyways, I beg your pardon. I get caught up. You get excited, and you want to have a good time.
But over the past 9 days, since the president did this emergency order,
What the fuck is you? What do they present you with, the honorary box of protein bars from the National Guard?
looks a lot better. It feels a lot safer. So I was talking with Stephen Miller and with Pete Hegseth about this in the Oval Office yesterday, and I was
sorry. It looks a lot better and feels a lot safer since the last time you never went.
We should just go over there and say hello to people. And
yeah, and I was like, what a dude, how do you come up with this shit? Bro, way to like somebody's vice president, ding ding. Like, buddy, that's so amazing. Like, we're sitting here with our thumbs up our ass, just thinking racist thoughts, and you're like, dude, let's take this on the road. All right. Jesus.
We've got a lot of National Guardsmen over there, some D.C. who have been heckled by some of the protesters.
Some of them were even attacked on January 6th. Did you ask them about it? Fuck you!
So I thought, what a good show of moral support to have the vice president and some of the senior team at the White House show up. We bought him some burgers, hang out with him a little bit. And actually, the most interesting thing, Laura, was...
Sorry, you met with them in an enclosed room at a train station with boxes of fast food. Dude, if you have to fart, just go outside.
After the cameras left, Pete and Steve and I stayed and, had lunch with these troops.
Oh my God. The sacrifice. That's what I really appreciate. Thank you. Thank you, sir. You actually? Did he say actually? Please tell me I'm not. Hold on. Back the fuck up. What was that again?
Pete and Steve and I stayed and, had lunch with these troops and just... And, learned a lot about what they're seeing, about how much the city has changed in just the past 9 days. So,
right. We haven't seen any crime. It's the crime has gone down immensely. How do you know? Well, we haven't seen any. I mean, there was a car wreck not far from here. That was crazy. Of course, it was one of our vehicles hitting a civilian. But
statistic, violent crime has dropped in D.C. 35% in 9 days.
Okay, so they just took the day off? You do realize the violent crime happens and then you arrest people. So I guess what you're saying is that you're scaring them into not attacking people. That's the idea, that they're not attacking people in the train station because there's too many soldiers walking around. Is that the theory?
In D.C. have dropped 55% in 9 days, and it highlights...
Yeah, I completely trust these statistics.
The fact that
Sorry, week on fucking week?
This living with lawlessness and disorder, that's fundamentally a question of political will. If you've got the political will to enforce the law, you can make even cities like D.C. safe again, and that's...
Hey, wait till we get rid of that rapist buddy of yours. If there was will out there, we could, impeach this motherfucker and have him actually removed from office for the shit he's done. Law and order.
We're demonstrating.
Gung gung.
And I hope that the American people take an important lesson from this, because obviously D.C. is a federal city, New York, L.A., these places are not. I hope the American people just recognize that you don't have to live with lawlessness. You don't have to live with third world murder rates if you just take control.
Yeah, hear that, Bakersfield? Talking to you, Texas. Mississippi, get your shit together.
These cities, you can make them safe places to live in.
So your pal Gavin Newsom calls this an abuse of power, that this is just a power grab, and this is all stunt for show, and that you all are going to roll through other cities. You've heard.
Well, excuse me. percentages over 9 days different than percentages from before 9 days, obviously going to hold and are real, and numbers. So, you know.
Things about,
sure is handsome, though.
Martial law is going to be declared.
Yep.
And to that, you say?
Well, first of all, how is it a power grab or how is it a stunt when we've already declined murders by 35% in 9 days?
You haven't. You fucking haven't. You have not. You haven't declined it by 35% in 9 days. There's like no way to parse that out. There are bodies you haven't even fucking found yet in that time cycle, you fucking idiot. In a metropolitan area with that size and that many woods around them, Jesus Christ. Do you watch any 48 Hours? Have you ever seen an episode of Dateline?
How many people are living and breathing today because Donald Trump had the willpower to say, you know what, we're sick of D.C. being a home to lawlessness. We're going to bring some public order back to the nation's capital. So what?
Sorry, were Trump fans being particularly targeted, or did you just only start giving a shit because Big Balls got attacked?
Say to Gavin Newsom or to anybody else in some of these big blue states or big blue cities is,
oh, you mean the ones that make all the money and pay all the taxes so that the red states can live on them like a fucking suckling pig?
you can have law and order, you can have common decency, you can have public spaces that young families can go to again. I'll tell you a story, Laura. A couple of years ago, the last time I was in Union Station, I took...
The last time he was in Union Station. Obviously, the bathroom.
Little kids there to get lunch, and they were being screamed at by homeless people, not compassionate to the homeless people to let them just fester when they clearly have mental health problems.
What does this have to do with, is there a 35% decline in festering?
Compassionate to young families to not be able to go into one of America's great public spaces.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Where is your compassion for the people in there and why, that are just trying to catch a train or eat in a train station when you aren't going anywhere? What the fuck? But where's your compassion for people who are doing that thing that nobody does? And why do you give all this compassion to the mentally ill and the poor? It's just gross. I blame Christianity.
Without being screamed at by a person clearly suffering
Why are
from a
Democrats
mental
doing
illness.
this?
I don't know.
Why is this
I
a
don't
political
know.
strategy for
Laura,
them?
We want to actually help with homelessness. Harris was going to build 3 million homes. They were going to do grant programs with blue cities, the ones you're talking about, including the DC and Baltimore areas, to deal with their homeless problem, to build like mid-level apartment blocks so that people that should be living in mid-level apartment blocks can only afford to live in the like decrepit areas. And so they eat up those units, which should be going to people who have barely any money. The people who are in the middle should be able to afford something better. So you build more of the better ones because the middle class is the biggest actual group in the country. You build for them, and then the things that they can pass on or the things that are out of their reach go to the other groups. That's how you do it. You don't build like a quote unquote affordable housing. That's why they call it affordable housing. It's why they don't call it like, tenements or on purpose or those kind of things. But that's how Trump and his clan think of it.
Thought about this so often and so many times.
I don't know why Dems love public disorder. Really? You don't? I mean, it's so exciting, for one. I mean, I think most of us, I think we like to have, get together with some of our friends and have soup.
And they start throwing it at our cops, at our police.
Person, woman.
And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup for my family. Big bags of soup. And they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it, and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police.
Yeah, it's not that we like public disorder. It's that we love a good bowl of soup. Who doesn't? Especially at the artist formerly known as Cracker Barrel.
Don't know why Democrats seem to love public disorder and chaos.
Well, chaos is different. I mean, it's a real party atmosphere, I like to think.
almost as a political ideology. And I
good. Okay. Can I just add something to that? I don't understand why you like the illusion of dignified wealth as a veneer for pedophilia and child sex trafficking. I mean, obviously, we're talking about, a regular order chaos is the lesser of two evils. I think we can both agree that of the two evils, yours is significantly more evil.
Part of what's going on is Democrats have gotten so divorced from the communities that they allegedly serve that they don't realize the gross majority of residents in D.C., they want to walk through Union Station and just have a bite to eat or enjoy the space with their families.
No, they don't. The vast majority of people want to catch their fucking train. They want to get home or get to work. It's not a fucking shopping mall, you weirdo. It's a train station. It's a transit center. That's like saying the vast majority of people in Indianapolis want to go down to the Greyhound station, get a snow cone, and hang around without being bothered by people who smell like they've been on a bus for 3 days.
I don't realize that so many people have been absolutely terrorized by Democrat crime policies, and so maybe they just don't make the connection between what Gavin Newsom says and the fact that places like D.C. or Los Angeles have some of the highest murder rates in the world.
No, they don't. No, they do not. No. Just because you track, look, we track our murder rate in this country. I know Trump wants to get rid of it. They don't want to track like gun deaths and those kind of things so that we can build a statistical analysis of where gun deaths occur the most and whether the guns that do them are registered or unregistered, legally purchased or straw purchased, who they belong to in the first place. I know they don't want to do that and look into that, but we do have a pretty good register of how many dead people we have in the country. It's one of the reasons why we have such a great true crime podcast and infotainment world around that, is because we got details. We can work with details. Can I, real quick, let's step aside for a second, because this happens a bunch, ladies and gentlemen. Chat room. Let me, let's go to, let me show you something. This is, there you go. I'll go this guy, quit, go away, quit, close. Gotta show this, okay. Minus, there we go. And then let's see. Okay. Allow. Okay, here you go. Real quick. This is one of the reasons. Look, I know there's a value in knowing the crimes that are happening in your community. You want to be aware of the warts and warts in all aspects of your society. But you can't think that you're all warts because you're the only person paying attention to the warts at all. Okay, so let me introduce you to this dude, Mikhail Popkov, which sounds like a fun name. It's not. Mikhail Popkov is a Russian serial killer, and he was convicted in Siberia of raping and killing 56 women. If you'll notice in the story, why is this a story? Convicted of 56 more murders. In 2015, he was sentenced to life for 22 murders. All the killings were committed between 1992 and 2010. There is no doubt that Popkov committed these murders. He clearly showed the places where the bodies were buried, and by an earring, tattoo, or some other feature described the murders and victims in detail. They called him the Angarsk Maniac. Aren't serial killers a wholly American thing? Kids, we have one of the biggest serial killers in the world, but the one with the highest number, I believe, is from Mexico. And then this dude is bringing up the rear and he's got a bunch of fucking company. And on top of that, should we look at China? A surge in mass attacks has killed dozens in China in recent months. These are attacks on society where drivers are mowing down people on foot, or knife-wielding assailants are stabbing multiple victims. Because there aren't guns, they stab people. Victims are strangers most of the time. November 19th, a vehicle hit students at a primary school gate. Small SUV. Injuries were not life-threatening. That's a Chinese lie, but whatever. We'll deal with that later. A string of deadly attacks by seemingly ordinary people is rocking China. November 16th, stabbing kills 8 at a vocational school. Driver kills 35 at a sports complex. This dude drove around the building, knocking... People used to jog around this building because there's like a big path when you walk up to the place. It's a big circle. So they would just jog in a circle around it. And he just got on there and just drove around, ran over everybody. Police detained the 62-year-old man who had done it, who they said was in his car, attempting to stab himself with a knife. 5 injured in a knife attack near a primary school. They do this a lot of kids' schools. Knife attack kills 3 at a supermarket. This happens all the fucking time. A year of mass attacks reveals anger and frustration in China. That's what it's about. It's about you driving around with too many bird cages on your bicycle can drive you to, I don't know why this guy's catching shit. What is driving people to murder strangers en masse? It's a question many in China are asking. Not this guy. He's just like, I'm getting my birds and getting the fuck out of here. Chinese people are so miserable. Read a social media post in the wake of yet another mass killing. There will be more and more copycat attacks. This year's been especially 2019 to 2023. In China, police recorded 3 to 5 cases each year where perpetrators attack pedestrians or strangers. In 2024, that number jumped to 19. In 2019, 3 people were killed and 28 injured in such incidents. In 2023, 16 dead and 40 injured. In 2024, 63 people were killed, 166 injured. November was especially bloody. On the 11th of that month, a 60-year-old man plowed a car. That was the guy I was telling you about. People exercising outside a stadium in Zhuhai. He was sentenced to death this week. Days later in Chengde City, a man drove into a crowd of children and parents outside a primary school and injuring 30 of them. The same week, a 21-year-old who couldn't graduate after failing his exams went on a stabbing rampage on his campus, killing 8 and injuring 17. In September, a 37-year-old man raced through Shanghai shopping centers, stabbing people as he went. In June, 4 American instructors were attacked at a park by a 55-year-old man wielding a knife. And there were 2 separate knife attacks on Japanese citizens, including one which a 10-year-old boy was stabbed to death outside of his school. What's the problem? China's slowing economy. No. It's the absolute wretched way that the Chinese government has gutted the society. There's no reason to live. There's no impetus to carry on. And then it gets hard. That's what does it. People can carry on through some fucked up shit and not do that. But if you ask J.D. Vance, he'll tell you Russia's safer than America is. China, you can go anywhere and there's no crime. Bullshit. Same thing with the Middle East. They're like, it's so much safer there. Well, you don't come up with we've got to kill anybody who attacks someone else if it never happens. If something was rare like that, you go like, we had this guy murdering people. We put him in a cage and we're just asking him all kinds of questions. But if it happens every fucking day and you have nowhere to house them, that's when you start chopping their heads off. It's fucking childish. And I gotta say, China's have no voting and no democracy. Exactly. It's safer for him because he's rich. Yeah, which is also why I call bullshit on that they went there for lunch. Yeah, Russia is totally violent. I studied, you guys, many of you know, I studied like Russian Spetsnaz bodyguard techniques with a guy named Vladimir Vasilyev in Toronto. And they would do, I was doing Queer as Folk at the time, and they would do this like group fighting thing, like how to fight 12 people at once. And it was awesome but there were so many like flying fists and kicking and stuff, and it was so random that there was no way to like the production would allow me to spar and do stuff, because if I got bruises on my arms and stuff, they could cover it with makeup, but they were worried I would get hit in the face and shut down production, so they made really strict rules, and I was like, fuck it, I want to do the 8 on 12, 4 on 16 fighting, but they wouldn't let me. But anyways, that they do that because it's normal. When's the last time, I mean, even in a situation where you're like football teams fucking up a city, they'll burn cars and turn shit over, but there's very little person-to-person violence. These folks, it's not even over a soccer game or anything. They just show up in the middle of fucking town and kick the shit out of each other. Hold on. Let's see this. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Here you go. Why? Who the fuck needs a ball? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you 1,200 Russians. Yellow shirts against the whoever the fuck else's. Just a big fucking fight. Slow-mo now. Look at the dude just got somebody on the ground and just whacking on him. Look at you getting the boot in. Why does this slow down? Play the whole fucking thing. Let him run. There you go. Just a big fist fight. And that's the one where they wear gloves. Holy shit. Here, let me show you this is there's so many I can hold on. Russian group fighting in cities. Because of the war, a lot of these videos get like pushed down into, you know, let's see, Russia's. Fuck, I'll have to dig forever to find those old ones. Point being, you guys get it. Like, when's the last time you heard of a bunch of fucking Americans getting out in a goddamn field and wearing different color shirts just to beat the fuck out of each other? No boxing, no MMA, no fucking getting together in a goddamn octagon. Welcome to You've Never Been Anywhere and You Don't Know How Anything Works. That's right. That's not how it works. All right, so what was he saying? This dipshit.
Police are being investigated for potentially manipulating their crime data. I've heard this from other police forces across the country. Great cops, beat cops in places like Chicago have said, some of the crimes are reclassified to make a burglary something that's more of a disturbance, and that kind of stuff happens. But is this a federal issue at this point, if this is a manipulation of data, and if
they're putting the vice president on it, no.
Widespread.
Well, it's certainly something that's being investigated, and I hope that we'll...
Is it?
Cover what's going on. But even aside from any manipulation of data, when you have 911 wait times that are so long, a lot of crime doesn't even get reported. And we heard this all the time. People would say, well, my home's being robbed. I'm not even going to call the police because it's going to be 45 minutes before they show up. And that's...
What? Hold on. The average response time in 2020, this is the data, the closest data I can find, is 8.9 minutes. They do not catalog wait times. In Washington Post report detail, this is 2023, reported a case where a teenager waited over 20 minutes for a paramedic to arrive, highlighting a systematic problem with 911, not police. Police are there faster, paramedics took longer, apparently, in this particular case. And I don't know what the rule was as far as how that even turned out. There's a lot of moving parts. Yeah, long, heartbreaking wait for a reliable 911. That was the Washington Post. Heartbreaking call from a teenage girl and other delayed emergency responses have moved to the city to take action. Okay, so they took action in 2023 about this. DC FEMS has now implemented response time mapping. That would be this. Hold on one second. Yeah, well, in this particular instance, if I may, let's bring this up. First response percentage of response in 5 minutes or less. 0 to 50% in the red areas will be, which is the vast majority, will get 5 minutes or less. Or is it green? Okay, so red, over 50%, you'll take you more than 5 minutes. Most of the city, 50 to 90% of them of these required take 9%. It's hard to read this. How do they want? ALS engine company, okay. Paramedic, police, and medical units. So that's yellow going to stuff. Okay, so that's the areas. Okay, so police and fire and all that kind of stuff are in the yellow category, and green. Fire response area, this kind of stuff. But most of them are 8.9 minutes in general, and then there are rare exceptions, maybe around the wooded areas or where people are calling from. You'll get a 20-minute call time. I don't see anything about 45 minutes.
Not an indictment of the beat cop, by the way. They're so overwhelmed by how much violent crime there is that they're unable to actually bring public safety to these communities. So what we're doing is just changing the balance a little bit. We're putting more good guys on the streets and we're taking more bad guys off the streets. And we think that's the sort of thing that's going to bring public safety back to DC. Again, it's already working in a very big way.
Now, Anji.
No. No, you cannot do a micro or a macro study in 9 days and say anything like 35%. You just moved it to another district.
Ukraine, your February meeting with Zelensky and the president, that was quite something to behold.
It was good TV.
How did you all break the ice?
It was not good TV. You were yelling at a man whose people had been systematically raped and murdered because you wanted him to, like, thank Trump, you fucking lapdog.
This time. Take us into the room, because we're all dying to know that.
Well, I think when President Zelensky walked into the Oval Office, I was chatting with him, with the president, with some of the senior Ukrainian delegation. I said, Mr. President, so long as you behave, I won't say anything. And he just chuckled a little bit. It was a good little icebreaker. I mean,
yes, I'm sure the ice was broken.
The president's trying to do, meaning our president is trying to do, is bring a 3.5-year, very brutal conflict to a stop. It's killed.
Yeah, he can't.
Way too many Ukrainians, way too many Russians.
Sorry, how many would be the proper amount for you? If this is way too many, and it's a lot, at what point were you like, that's a cool number?
Completely transformed the economy of Europe and of big parts of Asia.
Yeah, war will do that.
We just got to get back to peace. And I really do think you heard...
Oh, you mean you want us to go back to Afghanistan, I guess?
Vladimir Putin say this, that if Donald Trump had been president in 2022...
Bullshit!
This war would have never started, and now...
Yes, he also said he's never killed anybody. So, take that with a grain of salt.
The president is really spending a lot of time, a lot of effort to stop Joe Biden's war, because I think it is Joe Biden's war. Without him being weak and provocative, I don't think that...
If he hadn't made Ukraine wear that short skirt and go sashaying down the boulevard with him, Russia wouldn't have invaded.
would have invaded Ukraine, and now we have a situation where the president is trying to be strong and bold and trying to bring this thing to a close.
Now, take a
strong and bold, like how? Was it a strong, bold reach around? Did he give a strong, bold, rusty trombone to Putin in the back of the beast?
The room when the president said, "I'm going to call Putin now." And you got the Western leaders, they've all come to Washington. Now, what was their facial expression at that point? Did they anticipate that this was going to happen? Because it was, what, 8 hours ahead, Moscow time?
Yeah, it was like 1 a.m.
Well, it's not odd that a rapist would call a guy who sends rape squads into a country. You know what I mean? You kind of expect it, I suppose. And like, here we go again. You're just going to walk into a room with this guy. He's going to call another, like, murderous dictator. Just, it's a day that ends in Y.
Scout time, and they had no anticipation. So we're actually in the east wing of the White House, and the president says, we've had a pretty good meeting. I'm going to go call Vladimir Putin and see what he says about it. And everybody
get new marching orders.
Oh, you're going to call him next week? And he's like, no, what time is it in Moscow? Let's call him right now. And I think one of the things I realized about President Trump's leadership is he cuts through the BS of some of these diplomatic protocols and just says, I'm going to get things done. If I want to talk to somebody, I'm going to talk to somebody.
Right. Presidents have always been doing that. He's not cutting through the BS. This isn't new. He's just wasting everybody's fucking time. It's who he talks to and the fact that he's not going to get what he's asking for because there's no reason for that person to give it to him. Vladimir Putin is not going to fucking give up Crimea or any element of the Donbass, even the areas he hasn't seized yet. And he's not going to give up his dream of taking over Ukraine, period, end of fucking story. And he's not going to accept U.S. or European troops in Ukraine with a tacit Article 5 protection level. He just bombed an American company in the Donbass. Dumbass.
You had a lot of the Europeans who were saying, no, there needs to be proper, vetting, and the teams have to prepare the phone call and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, because this isn't their first rodeo. They've seen this before. Hold on. What do you think Trump's going to do in response to this? By the way, hi, maggots. I'm sure we have some maggots in the chat today. Welcome. Hi, how are you? You do realize this, right? You do realize that an American company with American employees, apparently, and American goods and services being shuffled through there, what have you, were bombed by the Russians today in Ukraine. Remember that whole thing where we're going to have this mineral deal? This is your prequel, buddy. This is what's going to happen when we have when we've got American companies getting rare earth minerals out of Ukraine. Any response from Trump today? I don't even know that he's even said anything.
The president was like, no. I want to talk to the guy. I'm going to talk to the guy. And I think that
I need to talk to the guy because, it's, otherwise I can't clock out for the day.
Of no holds barred, no BS diplomacy is part of the reason why we've made the progress.
All BS.
We have. And we've made a lot of progress, Laura. Who knows what's going to happen? The president tells me this all the time. You can never say with certainty what the outcome in this situation is going to be. But we now have the Russians talking to the Ukrainians. They're talking.
No, you don't.
Details about what would be necessary on each side to stop the fighting and stop the killing. We've made more progress in.
Yeah, we've had those details since before the shit started.
3 months. Then the.
And I gotta say, the Ukrainian one is the easiest. Get the fuck out.
We had made in 3 years in stopping this conflict. And I think it's because sometimes you just need a president who will pick up the phone and call somebody.
I'm going to say when Vladimir Putin meets with Volodymyr Zelensky, can we assume that all the big details will have been discussed and generally agreed upon, namely the security agreement and land swap?
It's a good question, and one that he doesn't know the answer to because he doesn't give a fuck.
I think that if you go through the bureaucratic process, then the answer is yes. But I think the president's preference and my preference would be, let's have them meet regardless. You don't have to figure out every issue. And sometimes leaders sitting down face to face can break the logjam that their teams don't necessarily have.
Okay. He thinks Trump is creating a okay, there's this story allegedly of during the Cold War, Ronald Reagan and Gorbachev, I believe it was, talking, or one of his predecessors, I forget. But anyways, sitting across the table from each other during negotiations about whatever. And at one point, the whole thing came down to like, look, everybody shut up. Let's start over. My name's Ron. And that was the story where they shook hands and then they became people talking about these things and humans, and Reagan humanized the moment and helped lead to Glasnost and all these things. That's the story that's going around. Whether it's true or not is for the ages and the historians. But he thinks that this is what's happening, that Trump's going to do something like this, that every phone call to Vladimir Putin is that Reagan humanizing moment, instead of him basically excusing every violent, horrible act by Vladimir Putin every time he picks up the fucking phone.
Ability to do. There really are two big questions lingering out there, and in some ways it's very simple, but in some ways it's very complicated.
In some ways it's very simple, and in some ways it's very complicated. There are some sentences that are just designed by God and nature to anger me as a Libra.
One is Ukraine wants to know that it's not going to get invaded again by Russia. It wants to know that it's got territorial integrity long into the future. The Russians want certain pieces of territory, most of which they've occupied, but some of which they haven't. So that is really where the meat...
Most of which they've occupied, some of which they haven't. As in, the rest of Ukraine. Fuck this dude. The simple part is the Ukrainians just don't want to be attacked in the first place. That's fairly simple. There's a lot of complicated issues once it's happened. And the Russians want to keep land they haven't gotten in battle yet, so they're going to keep fighting, I guess, to get it all during the negotiations. So not only is it not a ceasefire, but there's an impetus for them to be more violent.
The negotiation is the Ukrainians want security guarantees. The Russians want a certain amount of territory. Again, we finally got the details.
A certain amount? And that's it? Then once they grab that, they're done forever. Not just from Ukraine, from everywhere else. Leave the rest of Georgia alone. Dagestan, Kazakhstan. They're just going to leave those areas alone, they promise? So they pinky promise? Jesus.
We're working on them, but we haven't figured everything out. And I don't think that we should force, we shouldn't say that they can't sit down until you figured out every little detail. Sometimes them sitting down is what facilitates figuring out.
It's just fucking childish. This is magical thinking. That's what this is. That you think that Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky sitting across from each other, they're going to go, you know what? I looked into his eyes, I saw his soul, and I knew he was a good man.
Those details.
You have been so strong on the idea of...
By the way, this is what Chamberlain would have sounded like if he was a couch fucker.
Paying for Europe's defense.
Sure.
And I think a lot of Americans don't understand that the EU GDP last year was about $19.18 trillion, if I'm right,
yep.
Give or take. And the UK's was about $2.9 trillion.
Sure.
Is $29.8 trillion, right?
You know the numbers better than I do. You should be Treasury Secretary.
Yeah. Sorry, Scott, I got your job. No, but so this is a lot of money. Europe has the money to defend itself. So the security agreement, my question to you is...
Hey, asshole. What do you think that is? You think that's evenly distributed through all of the European countries? They are separate countries. The EU exists, but it's not like the United States. This is so fucking dumb.
Why should America carry the lion's share of the burden from now until Lord knows when Europe has the money to defend itself?
Well, I don't think we should carry the burden here. I think that we should be helpful if it's necessary to stop the war and to stop the killing. But I think that we should expect, and the president certainly expects, Europe to play the leading role here. And what he said very clearly is, look, the United States is open to having the conversation, but we're not going to make commitments until we figure out what's going to be necessary to stop the war in the first place. And I think that
that's leadership. Thanks, bro. Excellent. Hey, everybody. That's as good as we're going to get. How about we all wrap it up and take an early lunch, and then we'll just hit it hard on Monday. I know tomorrow's Friday. Let's just take the weekend and just have a fuck it. You know what I mean? Like a 3-day fuck it. All right.
You know, the president is very good. He never takes anything off the table. He never puts anything fully on the table because
he never commits to anything. He lets other people make all the decisions and then claims they were his in the first place. He loves to take credit for shit that just happened naturally or was the effort of other people. He thinks he should be a war hero even though he dodged the fucking draft.
Doesn't want to give away his leverage, and this is the private conversation.
He doesn't have leverage. He doesn't. The United States has leverage. He is the presiding administrator of our constitutional system of government. He's not the king. It ain't his. None of it is his. It's all ours.
We're all going to have about what's necessary to stop the war. But no matter what happens, no matter what form this takes, the Europeans are going to have to take the lion's share of the burden. It's their continent, it's their security, and the president's been very clear they're going to have to step up here.
What's it like meeting Putin? What was he like just one-on-one?
So I've actually never met Putin. The president did that meeting. I've talked to him on the phone a number of times.
That's weird. Really? Where? From Rupert Murdoch's house in Montana?
You know, it's interesting. He's more soft-spoken than you would necessarily expect. You know, the American media has a particular image of him. He's...
What? The American media? Like, the American media portrays him as, like, shouting a lot or loud? He talks like a fucking spy. Of course he's soft-spoken, you dumb motherfucker. Like, the dude is fucking shrugging with every word he says.
Soft-spoken in a certain way. He's very deliberate. He's very careful. And
yeah, and obviously he has the upper hand in this situation because of that care and deliberation, something that Trump is just fucking incapable of.
I think fundamentally he's a person who looks out for the interests as he sees it of Russia. And I think
the interests as he sees it of Russia. Jesus.
Reasons he respects the president of the United States is because he knows the president looks out for the interests of the American people. And while they all...
Sorry, so you think he respects Trump? Why? Because he calls him in the morning? Largely to just laugh at him and hang up?
Disagree about issues, and obviously the president has been very critical of Vladimir Putin. The president's also...
No, he hasn't. No, he is not. He just said, I don't like it. That's not a criticism. That's putting it on yourself. He's gone crazy. That's not a criticism either. That's saying this is out of character for him, which it fucking isn't.
To work with anybody if he thinks it's going to accomplish an important goal for America. And we all agree an important goal is to stop the killing.
Anybody? Anybody.
Let's move to the economy because that is still the #1 issue in the United States for most voters.
Sure.
Why? I mean, I think isn't it better? Like, we got the tariffs, money's pouring in, prices have cratered, everything's basically free now. Jesus Christ, the eggs, forget it.
The Democrats seem to be banking on an economic downturn, just like they seem to be banking on chaos in the streets against the National Guard.
Sure.
No, I don't think. I think the National Guard in the streets is the thing that they're drawing attention to. I don't know if they were, if it was part of their strategy, if it became a good strategy for the Democrats, it would probably be a good reason for the Republican president, in theory, to pull those people off the street. Yes.
How do you see the economy in the next 6 months as we're seeing.
Okay, everybody, either put on your thinking cap or your tinfoil. This is going to be good. This is, finally, we're getting some numbers. Give it to us, couch fucker.
Continuing uncertainty regarding interest rates and Jerome Powell.
Well, unfortunately, you have the Democrats. I think they really are betting against the United States. We're betting on the United States and the American people. There are a lot of good things happening in the economy. You have a lot of new investment coming in part because of the tariffs. People are trying to avoid the tariffs by building in the United States, which is their whole point, Laura, and why the president has been right about this issue from
Nope.
the beginning. You see blue,
which will drive prices up. Period. End of story. Either the price will go up because of the tariffs, or the cost of doing it in the United States will raise the price. For the consumer, it's a fucking wash.
wages rising at their fastest rate in 50, 60 years. You see inflation cooling off, though there's still a lot of work to do there.
Oh, okay. Okay, guys. Sorry, it's cooling off. Sorry, inflation is cooling. Is it? Okay, inflation. It's cooling. CPI inflation for reason Trump tariffs have caused inflation because they are not in place yet. Majority of inflation is a greater risk. There you go. So the entire Federal Reserve Board saw inflation as a greater risk. Okay. Most Federal Reserve officials highlighted the risk of inflation as outweighing concerns over the labor market at their meeting last month as tariffs fueled a growing divide within the central bank's rate setting committee. A majority of the 18 policymakers in attendance judged the upside risk to inflation as the greater of these two risks. Do we have, is there U.S. growth slows as inflation holds above the Fed's goal? So growth, clank, and then here's where they're at 2.79 to 2.8 on top of everything else. All right, here we go.
So I feel very good about where the economy is. You can never predict the future, but I think what people all over the world recognize is
you can't predict the future. He's right. But you can point out that in the past, the fall in the PCE, the price core index, the inflation, year over year, I'm fairly certain May of 2024, Biden was president. Yes? Is my math okay? Somebody want to check me on that? That while it went up during his presidency, largely due to supply shock caused by COVID, it went down over that period consistently. Growth was hashy and leveling out, but that was why the interest rate was all over the place. Change in non-farm payrolls goes up and down. That's seasonal, but the overall part of it, there we go. And here we are in December. It's that high, and then it's basically right after Trump wins, they start firing people because of tariffs, because of the fear of tariffs.
It's a time to build in the United States of America. If you want to build a car, you want to build a car manufacturer.
You want to build a car manufactured in the United States, it will cost you more than just buying one from Japan.
Facility. If you want to build a next generation technology facility, if you want to build houses, whatever you want to do, we are the place to do business.
How about rare earths and magnets, which is what we're dependent on with China, which gives them an enormous amount of leverage over us.
And that's something the president has really directed the entire team to fix that issue, because whether it's...
Oh, yeah, they're going to fix it. Okay, cool. Tell us, he's going to say whether it's rare earths or lithium or something like that, but tell us how you're going to fix it. If you put the whole team on it, he's got to know the points, right?
Earth magnets or pharmaceuticals. He wants the United States to depend on Americans. We should...
Okay. What if those things don't actually exist inside the country and must be imported?
Not be in a situation where foreign adversaries or competitors have control over critical parts of our economy. Think about this, Laura. God forbid.
No, she knows the problem. She explained that in her question. What she was asking you for was the solution. This is not a campaign speech about what could possibly happen and, oh my God, if we don't do something about it, if I don't get elected, nothing will be done about this. You're in office. What are you doing?
Americans are in some sort of conflict, and we can't get antibiotics because we're in a conflict against a country that makes the antibiotics.
We buy them from someplace else. We only get 90% of our antibiotics from China because that's the cheapest source. We can also buy them from Europe. We can also buy them from Canada. We can also buy them from the Middle East. We can also buy them from India. We buy these things. We're reliant on China for 90% of these things because of the cost, not because of the availability.
You don't have economic freedom and you don't have real prosperity unless you make your own stuff. That's why the President of the United States is making it so much easier to build things and make things in America.
Now, I know.
How do you make rare earth minerals in America? Go. Again, thank God, maggots, you must be very proud that you don't have to deal with a regular politician giving a political answer or talking past the issue or just throwing in some campaign rhetoric to spackle past the point that he has no answer. None. What the fuck was that? On the merits, on Earth One, in politics. This is the Vice President of the United States, asked, by the way, by a friendly, ball-gargling journalist that's totally on the team, that has you on fucking speed dial. You can call each other at odd hours to give scoops and info or get your questions answered. This is not a hostile 60 Minutes interview. This is not a fucking, you haven't wandered into Chris Hansen's fucking rec room. She wants you to succeed in this interview. She is helping you. She is literally, she's carrying half the fucking water for you. And that was the answer. God forbid we don't have these things when we need these things. What are you doing to make these things here? How are we going to get these things if we only get them from that one place? Well, we're just going to have to, this president really wants us to make things here. Okay. So we're going to set up a rare earth mineral factory. What are we using? Alchemy?
I love talking about politics because you're going to say, well, we can't look forward to 2028. I understand that.
I'm sick of politics,
But Democrats are still doing their 2024 autopsy.
Yes.
Okay. And part of their
No, we're not.
Autopsy is that going forward, they need to kind of be more like Trump in tone, tougher, have nicknames. Newsom's given you a nickname, which I don't even understand, called Just Dance Vance. So I guess, what's your favorite dance?
Oh, it's because of this song. It's because of your theme song. This one.
Couch humping. Couch humping. Jumping. Feel the beat. Feel the beat. Take it higher. Can't retreat.
Love seat. You and me, buddy.
Dance music. I mean, it's the dumbest nickname. But how lost are the Democrats right now? And you can answer the dance question.
I mean, look, the autopsy for the Democrats, some free political advice from the President of the United States is stop sounding like crazy people. That really is all it is. I mean, this idea that Gavin Newsom is somehow going to mimic Donald Trump's style.
He's not mimicking it. He's mocking it.
I think that ignores the fundamental genius of President Trump's political success, which is that he's authentic. He just is who he is. You've got
yeah, which is great, I guess, if you're a member of a cult, or you are one of those people who shows up to see Barry Manilow play every single night, which, you know, is worth it. I just want to say, but where you just stand there like, do the VSM. If you're one of those folks. He's so authentic. He does exactly the same thing all the time.
Yourself, you've actually got to talk to people honestly about the issues. I don't think it's that complicated. Don't be a crazy person.
Great. Good luck.
Be authentic. If the Democrats did that, they'd do a hell.
I agree. You're being authentically evasive, stupid, and full of shit right now. I don't think you're making this up. I don't think this is a show, man. I think you are actively showing us who you really are.
Better. But the thing is, the Democrats really can't help themselves. If you look at the transgender issue, they're still talking about letting, men play in women's sports. If you look at the crime issue, they're calling Donald Trump a fascist for taking action that in 9 days has dropped armed robbery
by
55%.
Armed robbery by 55% over the 9 days previous. Yeah, we'll see. I love statistics in a 9-day window.
Part of sounding.
What's the source? Hold on. Maybe let's look it up. Let's see. DC. Let's see. DC crime down by 35%. That was the initial number, right? That he gave. In 9 days. 9 days? Ooh, you know so much. You're making cities safe again. This is The only person saying this is Vance. Yeah. The only person I can find actually saying this is Vance. They're all quotes from him saying this. Trump distorts crime in order to take over truth. Okay, that's the pretend that it's high. Allow. DC mayor defends. Let's see. I think there's a possibility crime has come down, but the department is reporting that 2024 crime went. Okay. Sorry. Crime went down. Union official says officer street level experience contradicted MPD's claim of 60% decrease in crime in 2023. But he's saying it went down 24%. No. Okay. Let's see. Speaking of, okay, there's a potentially a drop from where we were. Okay, this is the. There's a potentially a drop from where we were in 2023. I think there's a possibility that crime has come down, but the department is reporting that in 2024 crime went down 35%, violent crime, and another 25% through August of this year. That is preposterous to suggest that cumulatively we've seen 60+ % drops in violent crime from where we were in 23 because we're out on the street. We know the calls we're responding to. In 2023, they experienced a surge in violent crime not seen in 2 decades, while some national data included a Council on Criminal Justice order indicates crime is down in major cities across the United States. Pemberton remains skeptical that the local data aligns with daily experience on patrol. The union's concerns come in an ongoing internal investigation into MPD's 3rd District Commander Michael Pulliam, who was placed on paid administrative leave in May. He's accused of altering crime classifications to make statistics appear more favorable. Pulliam has denied the allegations. That was, by the way, that was May of this year. I forget who was president in May of this year, but we'll look at it later. When asked about the investigation, he said on August 11th that many irregularities in reporting will be addressed. Mayor Mira Bowser also broke into 500. Okay. MPD reports that 552 fewer victims of violent crime have been recorded so far in 2025 compared to the same period in 2024, with decreases reported across all 7 police districts. Okay. So, no, there's the 35% drop or a 30% drop in violent crime year over year from 23 to 24. Let's see. Violent crime imposed the lowest level in 30 years. It's the 5,000 incidents in 2023. When was this? This is 8 months ago. Here you go. Let's see this. This is December 20th, 2024. Violent crime in D.C. plummets to lowest level in 30 years. Year-end analysis of violent crime in the district shows the rate of violent incidents is at a 30-year low. According to a presentation from the U.S. Attorney's Office, violent crime overall has dropped 35% over the last year. That's where the 35% number, not 9 days. Again, they would have to drop from 5,000 incidents to 3,000. That'd be aggregated over the year. Whatever, 87 or something odd in 9-day cycles, something like that. Homicide is down 30%. Sex abuse crime is down 22%. Assault with a dangerous weapon is down 27%. Robbery is down 39%. Burglary is down 8%. This statistic, which will be finalized after the year is over, have been compiled by the Metropolitan Police website. Matthew Graves is crediting the reduction to his office working with the Metro Police to target known individuals who have historically driven violent crime in the area. It's relatively few people who are driving violence in our community. Yeah, that's why you need to, the parole board should be on the hook for recidivism. At some point, there should be parole board malpractice suits.
Crazy is being less crazy. And if the Democrats were less crazy, I think we'd all get along a whole lot better.
I'm not trying to pick on California because I am a member of the California bar, so don't get me here. But look, we've had a situation where they're giving commercial driver's licenses to illegal aliens who can't speak English.
Who don't have basic English competency.
And they're killing Americans.
Hold on. So that's the illegal driver thing. They're giving like vast majority of it. So again, one incident paints everybody. But let's see, commercial driver's license, California, North Dakota, illegal immigrant. That'll be how to bring the story up. This is the Commonwealth, state, and federal regulators, while the California Law Assembly Bill 60 allows undocumented individuals to obtain a standard non-commercial driver's license with proof of identity and residency. According to California DMV in California, obtaining a CDL presents a different challenge. Federal regulations under the mandate verification of legal status for CDL insurance. However, some argue that a potential loophole may exist where a state might issue a CDL to someone who is simply authorized to work in the United States. That person is not illegal or undocumented. That means if they're authorized to work in the United States, they have a green card or they have a work visa. And the story, obviously, is criminal illegal alien recklessly driving an 18-wheeler. This is the story that they were talking about. Kills 3 in Florida. Oh. What is he? Is the idea that he got his license in California? The Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Immigration Enforcement lodged an arrest obtainer for criminal illegal alien Harjinder Singh, following his arrest for 3 counts of vehicular homicide. According to the Department, he was attempted to make an illegal U-turn through an official use-only access point to St. Lucie County by blocking all lanes of the highway with his truck. Singh caused a brutal wreck, instantly killing 3 innocent people and leaving Florida families shattered. Video obtained from the Breaking 911 inside the tractor trailer shows the exact moment Singh decided to break U.S. highway laws. As he turned his truck into traffic, his face shows no shock or remorse from his actions or the lives he destroyed. The innocent people were killed in Florida because Gavin Newsom's California Department of Motor Vehicles issued an illegal alien a commercial driver's license. This state governance is asinine. Okay, how many more innocent people must die before Gavin Newsom stops playing games with the safety of the American public? We pray for the victims. Singh obtained a commercial driver's license in California despite having no legal right to be in the United States. Gavin Newsom put American ICE issued an immigration detainer on after Singh was arrested to ensure he remains in custody. Okay, so they overturned. What do you want to bet? They overturned his asylum status, and that's why he didn't qualify anymore. So like he was given it while he had a work permit. And then they took his work permit away when Trump came in, and that made him automatically illegal. Let's see. Let's see. Where is he? I'm going to. I just have to dig into these things. Harjinder Singh. Okay. Whoops. Okay. Stockton man charged in fatal Florida crash. So on YouTube he's called Stockton Man. Saying boards an airplane is extradited to Florida. So he was in California when he got semi-truck driver and deadly illegal U-turn crash in Florida. Turnpike appears in court. Indian trucker sergeant killed 3, fails English road tests. That's in a magazine. That's from the Times of India. Let's see. Scared to go back to... Okay, this is... Times of India says he's scared to go back to India. He's out on bond. There he was. Allowed to... What the fuck? Hold on, I have to put this in the show the reader. Okay. This is the guy they're talking about. Now, what he wants you to think, though, is that this is how, like, all California does is hand out, random commercial driver's licenses to people who can't speak English and who, and lets them run around running over people. And this, again, happened in Florida, but whatever. Okay. Allowed to stay in the U.S. Okay. After Indian trucker killed 3 in a wrong turn with his semi-truck in Florida. He was arrested in 2018 when he was processed for expedited removal, but he claimed at the time he was scared to return to India. Confirmed by citizens, and he was released on a $5,000 immigrant. Oh, motherfucker. He was... Who was president in 2018? Who? Who was president in 2018, ladies and gentlemen? So this guy was effectively granted asylum in 2018. He was processed for expedited removal during the Trump administration, claimed at the time he was scared to return to India. His fear was affirmed by U.S. citizenship and immigration services, and he was released on a $5,000 immigration bond. Singh was arrested at U.S. Marshals of California on Saturday. For fuck's sake, like, get out of here. God damn it. Like, how did you not... honestly, how many of you saw that coming? That they're presenting this as like, California's just fucking willy-nilly doing whatever. And then this guy got his asylum claim verified in 2018. It's just so fucking on the nose. Now, the other question is, and this is an honest question. Do you think, all my questions are honest except when I'm being an asshole. I think this asshole knows that that this guy was granted effectively asylum during the first Trump administration, when his predecessor Mike Pence was walking around with his head up Trump's ass daily, staring at him like an extra on my old show. Do you think he and Laura Ingraham know that this guy was released on an immigration bond and not marked for deportation, which meant he was allowed to get a work permit? He was legally in the country because he was bonded to stay here because his asylum case was being adjudicated, which means he is not undocumented. It means he is a documented immigrant. He might be on a probationary level. He might be limited in that. He might be sent home after they adjudicate his case. But while he's here, you want him on welfare or you want him working? And this guy isn't, apparently, their other big thing is these immigrants, they just draw on the public tit. They come over here, Democrats fly them in, they put them on welfare, give them Cadillacs and cell phones, and then tell them they can vote, right? And none of them work and we all have to pay for them, right? And they all live in luxury hotels. And then this guy gets an asylum claim during the Trump administration, gets the ability to stay here and work during the Trump administration, gets a job as a commercial truck driver, has a car accident and kills some people, which happens and is terrible, and that's California's fucking fault. What an asshole.
It matters a whole lot because if you're going to read a road sign, Laura, you might as well, or you need to actually read the language the road sign is written in. And of course, this illegal alien in California killed 3 innocent people because he was reckless, he was dangerous, he shouldn't have been in the country. But now we come to find out he can't even read in the language the road signs are written in. So this is...
Yeah, but he obviously made it. That wasn't even a road sign problem, you fucking moron. He just tried to U-turn in the middle of the road. He's a dumbass. I'm guessing along the way, he stopped at a few red lights and stop signs. He yielded perhaps even at at an on-ramp or an off-ramp. What do you think the fucking chances are that during his trip allegedly from California or wherever he started this truck that he was particularly driving to Florida or around Florida a bunch until this happened? What do you think, that was his first day on the fucking job? He failed an English proficiency exam. It doesn't mean he can't read a fucking stop sign.
And it goes to the Democrats' basic problem, which is...
No, it doesn't. This guy was given asylum and immigration probation during your boss's last term.
They're just too crazy. Imagine if you had a Democratic Party that was focused on enhancing the prosperity and the safety of American citizens rather than bringing in millions of low-wage illegal immigrants, giving them the right to vote, and allowing them...
Yeah, something that has never happened. Again, think about that sentence for a minute. That's the great replacement theory. He went from fucking zero to great replacement theory instantly. We're bringing in these illegals and we're going to let them and make them vote. That did not happen. It didn't. Not only can this motherfucker not round up millions of illegals because they don't fucking exist. Feel free to at me. There are not 25 million more illegals in the country than there were in 2020. There are not. There are fewer. By every count that I've seen, there are fewer illegal immigrants in this country now than there was before COVID. Because of death and return. People got the fuck out. And if there's going to be a pandemic and the world's going to end, I'm going home. Jesus Christ. If there was 35 million fucking people out there, if you said they're handing out these trucker licenses, you'd have more than one case. These guys are running into people. This is the 9th one this month, right? That would be the story. If the murder rate amongst them was this fucking high, you wouldn't have the Lake and Riley Act. It would have to have 15 names on it. It'd look like the fucking Vietnam Memorial Wall. Your numbers are bullshit.
Effectively make it harder for Americans to live a good life. That's all.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. This whole thing you made up in your fucking head, that again is fucking fiction, is somehow making my life harder. How? Because construction crews, cleaning crews, hospitality workers, farm workers who come here on, basically working under the table on this kind of like shadow visa system, keep prices and services costs lower and more available to the average American. Is that how? Are they putting all the American roofers out of fucking business?
It's about. They care more about low-wage foreigners than they do about their own people. That is the fundamental craziness at the heart of the Democratic Party. And until they change that...
Yeah, until we change the thing you made up in your fucking head, which is a lie. It's fucking nonsense. It's garbage. Like, this isn't even one of those things where, like, well, shit, there's a difference of opinion about these things. This is just fucking cartoonishly false. The essence of the Democratic Party is one person, one vote. That every American citizen over the age of 18 who is not currently serving a felony prison sentence or hasn't been released on early release for, and finished serving their time can vote to pick their leaders. That's it. That's the essence of the Democratic Party. Everything else is policy to try and make the country better. That's where there are no partisan issues. There are only partisan solutions, and not all solutions are partisan. Some problems only have two practical solutions, and neither side gets to lay claim to them. That's how most genuine problems work. Sorry, I as a Democrat, I'm not on the hook for whatever fictional attitude you have about our motivation.
Gavin Newsom can mimic Donald Trump all that he wants to.
He's not. He's not mimicking him. He's making fun of him because Trump is a fucking clown.
Still going to lose unless they get better policies that actually serve the American people.
Oh, you mean like the ones you borrowed, like the child tax credit and those kind of things that they put in the BBB that made all the conservative, like the hyper-conservative Republicans mad, but are actually Democratic policy positions? That kind of shit. How's that shutting down the Department of Education thing going? So USAID is just in the State Department building, and basically 80% of it's still there. So you just made the 20% changes that most presidents make about it, but you made a big stink so you could lie to your own supporters. That's authentic. That's just him talking real.
Given the fact that they're endangering the lives and killing American citizens, as we saw with that horrific crash in Florida.
Literally killing American citizens.
Literally killing Americans. I mean, these are not made up statistics. These just happen.
Sorry. Literally killing their American citizens with their immigration policies. This motherfucker was granted asylum status during the Trump administration. He was set for expedited removal, and the Trump administration allowed him to stay in 2018. We can have an argument about the differences between both parties' attitude towards immigrants and Trump wanting, like, yeah, if you own a farm, you could tell the good ones from the bad ones. If you have a business, if you're hiring workers, you should be able to bring them in, whatever. You know, you're responsible for them. But, you know, if they disappear in the desert, you know, and the cops don't find them, how can they really pin the crime on you? You have that argument. But this ain't that. This guy got to stay on a $5,000 immigration bond during the last Trump administration. During the last Trump administration, the driver that killed the 3 people on the Florida Turnpike was allowed to stay in the country and have his asylum case adjudicated and punt his fucking date out into the future because you guys won't add judges because you don't want to tighten the system. You just want it to go away, but it can't. And you've already granted this guy. So he's got a work permit because it's that or put him on welfare. And since you guys think they're all on welfare and you want to deny them that, work is the only other option. So it is directly the response, like it is actually the policies of J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, Mike Pence, Lauda that put this guy on the road. Because honest to God, if you're saying Democrat policies would do this, according to you, Democrat policies are, let's just pay this fucker to stay home. Right? If we're the ones that don't want work requirements, even though we're the ones that give out work visas, and so you can't have it both ways. But let's just say that what Democrats want to do is bring these people in, put them on the public tit, and give them the right to vote, right? That's the story. Then, based on that standard, we wouldn't want this guy on the road at all. He'd just sit home fucking eating popcorn waiting for his asylum case to be adjudicated, and then he can get a job once he's allowed to stay in the country under asylum. But you guys went, I don't want this guy taking my tax dollars. Get him out on the road.
I mean, federal highway funds, that's leverage that the federal government has over the states that refuse to do the basics.
That's exactly
Would you
right.
consider advising that DOT and the administration pull back on federal highway funds for these states?
So I don't want to get ahead of any administration.
He has no fucking idea what you just said.
Announcements, but we are looking at a whole host of points of leverage we can exercise over California and other states to make sure they comply with the law.
They did. They are.
Cities are killing people because you allow these violent criminals to set up shop in your cities. Obviously, you saw this case with the person who murdered.
You allow these people to set up shop in your cities. Just listen to all the loaded words in this. Not they live amongst the immigrant community and they get dug in like a fucking deer tick and it's hard to get them out and you know you're so concerned about the innocent ones, you don't go after the guilty ones, which is probably the biggest fault you could say of the entire thing, is that in protecting the greater community, you're willing to let some get a pass that are doing horrible things. That would be the idea. But they can't bring that up because they're doing the exact opposite. To get to a couple of the criminals, they're willing to wipe out the entire community.
People on the road, 3 people on the road because they couldn't even read the road signs. We have a lot of points of leverage here, but fundamentally.
No. He didn't he didn't kill those people because he misread the signs. He just turned and went in this U-turn. It didn't matter that it said for official use only or not. He didn't look. They slammed into him because he didn't give right away to the cars behind him. He did this turnaround without giving due reference, turn signal, slowing down, signaling, any of that stuff before pulling it. He just yanked a Yui and they smashed into the side of him. It didn't have anything. They didn't even have time to figure out what sign he was reading. It didn't matter.
I think the American people have to stand with us here, because when we go and tell the governor of California or the governor of New York that you have to stop putting the interests of illegal aliens over American citizens,
they aren't.
We need the American people to stand with us, and I think that they will. I think that they are. But
well, you're wrong, because we are not going to stand beside you while you beat a straw man and call yourself a dragon killer.
Definitely not going to let this slide, Laura. You can't.
Yeah, you are.
Do it. You've got to stop putting the interests of foreigners who don't have the right to be here over the interests of American citizens. That is the entire point and purpose of the Democratic Party. If you go back to the election of 2020.
No, it isn't. And again, this is the straw man. This is, by the way, this is active. I want to say that he's not just wrong here. This is the purpose of, I would say, he said it 4 or 5 times now. This is the purpose of this interview. Get away from Epstein, get away from the stuff that's dogging the Trump administration, tariffs, all that other stuff, and go back to what really got them elected, which is fear of brown people, fear of foreigners, fear of the other, paranoia about evildoers that want to come over the border and blow us up and all that kind of shit. That worked for them with a broad swath of people. That's what this is about. Get this back to pin the idea of immigration, because the 0 people at the border thing, even though, again, the cost of fentanyl hasn't gone down at all. So the idea that it was coming across the southern border is a complete fucking lie. And, you know, we've known that all along. That's what we were saying, but whatever. In the interim, this story that he needs to tell about Democrats is the purpose of this interview. This is a propaganda exercise. That's all this is about. This is coordinated around this issue. Laura is supposed to bring up the driver in Florida. They will answer it by saying, we're branding the Lake and Riley thing worked, we think. And so we're going to also pin the death of these people in Florida on the roads on them as well. That's the purpose, for the record. So now that we've gotten to the essence of this, I'll come back to you guys. Hi, chat room. And the important thing, too, is that the details of what he was saying were complete bullshit. They were, quite frankly, a lie. But not an accidental lie. And then, okay, so Trump went on Fox and Friends, and there was a lot of talk.
Said he's begun.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, so this was him on the phone with Fox and Friends. And there's, I think we have, we got time for most of it. I have to leave like almost right at 6 because Summer and I are going to dinner. She made dinner plans. So she's my baby and we're going to dinner. She wants to have dinner plans. We have to leave by like 10 minutes after 6. So we'll get, I'll skip around on this because nobody needs all of this shit. But this is Trump calling into Fox and Friends.
45th and 47th President Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, thanks so much for joining Fox and Friends this morning.
Good morning. That's quite a crew. Well,
Mr. President, the whole world was watching yesterday as you got leaders from the European Union, NATO, as well, from all over the world. How did you get them to Washington, to the Oval Office, so fast?
Well, I think really they have respect for our country again. A year ago, they wouldn't have come. They wouldn't have even thought about it. Now, we've become the hottest country anywhere in the world. Everybody wants to be here.
Oh, okay. No, the reason they came is because they knew he needed hand-holding. That's why. Hold on. This is it. Yeah. They were like, we're going to show, it isn't because they're coming because the United States is hot. It's because they came to show unity behind Zelensky. Period.
They came, and they said there's really never been anything like it. You know, you'd have one president or one prime minister, but there's never been, such a group. And these really
well, that's never been necessary before. Nobody has ever had to talk the U.S. president into being pro-democracy before.
Represent the European nations, these people.
Yeah, certainly during the Cold War, nobody came over and went, "Hey, I don't know if the Russians have your best, the best of intentions in this circumstance, sir."
They're very good people, and they want to end the war, that horrible war with Ukraine and Russia. It's a horrible war.
The horror. You're an errand boy. I ate a bug. I swallowed a bug.
It was such a sense of unity, and
unity.
We all enjoyed watching it because America is on top, and it was on your turf, on your terms. I know yesterday you.
Yes, yes, Queen. You on your terms. Don't let them tell you how to be, sister.
About arranging a meeting to take place in 2 weeks between Putin and Zelensky. Is there an update there, and do you plan to attend?
No, I thought I'd do first let them meet. You know, they haven't been exactly best friends. They haven't gotten along very well. And I called President yesterday, and I do have a good relationship, but it only matters if we get things done. Otherwise, I don't care about the relationship. I do have a good...
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you call a transactional relationship, or a transactional attitude towards your fellow human beings. Unless I get something out of this, I don't care. Happy birthday, Melania. I don't know when her birthday is, but
relationship.
He's not going to tell her, so somebody has to.
But I want to get things done. You know, I've solved 7 wars. We ended 7 wars. I thought this would be one of the easier ones, and this has turned out to be the toughest one. India, Pakistan. I mean, these were big ones, and also all big ones, and some going for 31, 32 years, one for 35 years. The Congo, think of that. The Congo and Rwanda for 35 years. I got that one done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. He got it done. It's done. Sorry. Let's see. Yeah, he got it done. He got it done like a week ago, right? Massacres in East Congo cast doubt on U.S.-mediated peace deal. When was that? That was a long time ago. Oh, August 20th, 2025. Kinshasa, DRC. Rwanda-backed M23 rebels in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo killed 141 villagers in July. Human Rights Watch said Wednesday, despite hopes that President Trump's backed peace talks would end long-running violence in the troubled region, the rights organization found that the rebels committed massacres in at least 14 villages in the provinces of North Kivu in eastern Congo between July 10th and 30th. The attacks targeted mostly ethnic Hutu villagers, according to Human Rights Watch, as part of an apparent military campaign by the M23 against Hutu extremist military democratic forces of the Liberation of Rwanda, or FDLR. That's why there actually is no war between Congo and Rwanda. It's these separatist and past fighting forces that lay claim to the area, but whatever. Okay. Eastern Congo, most of the vast reserves of critical minerals, has ensured armed conflict for more than 3 decades. The violence traces back to the aftermath of the 1994 genocide in neighboring Rwanda. While the Hutu-dominated regime collapsed and millions of people, including Hutu extremists, fled into the Congo, their arrival fueled a cycle of wars and instability that continues today. M23 rebellion grew out of the earlier Tutsi-led militaries in the region, now operates as a proxy force for Rwanda's interests. The scale of recent killings in northern Kivu is likely larger than reported by Human Rights Watch, which compiled a list of people either killed or feared dead. The UN announced in early August that M23 had killed at least 319 villagers in North Kivu, citing first-hand accounts gathered by UN rights investigators. Sorry, what were you saying about Rwanda and you got what?
The Congo, think of that. The Congo and Rwanda for 35 years. I got that one done.
Yeah, you got it done. Somebody call the UN and Human Rights Watch. I don't even know why. What are you guys still doing there?
I got them all done, but this one is the one that is the most difficult, and I thought it would be an easy one. So I hope...
Right, because you thought Putin would do you a solid. He's not going to. He wasn't then. He's not now.
President Putin is going to be good, and if he's not, it's going to be a rough situation. And I hope that President Zelensky will do what he has to do. He has to show some flexibility also. The thing is a mess. This was started by Joe Biden.
No, it was not. It was started by Vladimir Putin.
It was a war that should have never happened. Millions of...
I agree. So blame Putin. Go, hey, why the fuck did you invade, dummy? Well, I couldn't have NATO on my doorstep. Well, Finland's got a bigger border than Ukraine does with you. And they're in NATO. What are you going to do, invade them, you dumb son of a bitch?
People are dead. The country's blown to pieces, Ukraine. And
no, it is not.
It's a shame. You know, my wife Melania wrote that beautiful note to President Putin about children.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful note. Tell us what was in it.
The children are devastated. They're taken away from their homes. The whole thing.
Sorry, they were taken away from their homes? They were taken away from their fucking country, you tool.
This is a war that would have never, ever, ever happened if we had a president.
Bullshit.
A real president.
So, Mr. President, it's been barely a week since you announced that first meeting in Alaska, and it's just been days since that meeting, and then you had the meeting yesterday. In the course of having these negotiations, what has surprised you the most between Zelensky and Putin?
Oh, my God. You don't expect to get actual details, do you?
In terms of their strength or weakness of their position right now?
Well, I think the fact that maybe they're getting along a little bit better than I thought. Otherwise, I wouldn't.
What the fuck?
Set up the 2 meeting. I would have set up the 3, a trilat. But I think they're doing a little bit better. There's been tremendous bad blood. And again, this was all worked out by an administration that didn't have a clue. And if you remember, they said, well, if you made a minor incursion, that would be okay. That was the end. The whole thing when Biden made that statement. But minor incursion, what does that mean? So I think that...
You're offering them land they haven't even conquered yet, you fucking moron.
Okay.
Okay, real quick. I think I've got the answer to this, though, if I may, chat room, because I got to leave in a few minutes, and or somebody's going to be very upset. You know you're in deep shit if Alex Jones is worried about your health. This is HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Apparently, it's the cankling, the great cankling.
Nobody. I don't care who they are, can operate at the level he does and the intensity over long periods of time, nonstop. You can have the very best engine.
He's not. He stops all the time. He golfs. He sleeps more than you admit. He has other people tweet for him. They pre-stack a bunch of them to go in the middle of the night to give him this illusion worldwide that he never sleeps. It's part of the myth of him being an alpha. He sleeps a fucking ton.
Made by the Japanese.
It just doesn't help.
And you can't drive the car for 2 months straight, never turning the engine off. You just can't do it.
Okay.
And so,
especially a shitty old jalopy that you've done nothing but put like kerosene and sugar in the tank.
I said back when Biden was getting ready to run, back then I said his cognitive decline is serious, and showed videos from him months before where he still was a little weird but got a lot worse. I said, I think he's probably had another aneurysm or another stroke or something. He's already had a bunch of big brain surgeries. And they're like, oh, we're censoring you, fake news. And of course, it was all true.
Also, nobody ever censored him for saying any of this shit, ever.
This isn't going to go away because Trump's not going to cut his schedule back and take care of himself. Again, a 45-year-old man couldn't do this.
What the fuck is this? Last year, President Obama reportedly told his aides that he's really good at killing people.
So as the crisis...
in 2013.
It's worse, and it's going to get worse. Because you can see him declining faster.
Ooh.
Faster. It's not super bad yet.
Oh, yes, it is.
But unlike Biden that was completely shot and had all these brain surgeries and the rest of it, Trump has got great genetics. He's tough. And if he takes care of himself...
He does not.
He can make it through these years and then after. But if he doesn't, he's going to have... I predict Trump is going to have some type of collapse within the next 12 months at the current...
Gee, you fucking think?
I'm not saying he's going to collapse.
No, I'm just looking at the actuarial tables for shit like old farts in ill health who have big fat cankles and a nunt that could swallow a fucking hippo's head.
I'm saying if he doesn't take his foot off the gas pedal, I guarantee you, and I've got stamina, way better than most people. If I had Trump's job at 51,
dude, you sit for your job all the time. The only time you do this show or clips from it, you're sitting in your fucking car. You don't post videos you in the middle of a goddamn jog.
For a month, I would have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, but you have to have a nervous system that actually functions and care about shit.
So this isn't a criticism of Trump.
Yeah, it is.
But it'd be like taking an ultra marathon runner and saying, okay, you can run 100 miles in 2 days. Well, how about 300 in 2 days? You can't do it.
You can't run that far because you're so old.
That's not how it works.
You broken old fuck. All right, I gotta go because summer's we got dinner. And I got it. This is fun. Hold on. Oops. No, that's the wrong window, too. Where are you? There you go. Chat room. Hi. There you are. Hi. All right. So I got to say, again, and we can end on this note. If Alex Jones is worried about your health, you're fucked. You're definitely fucked. So it's a scary thing, but I'm sure we'll all be very sad. Like, James Dobson. Yeah, the guy who used to torment women and gays. He's apparently no longer on the planet. So, you know. I guess that's, there's an upside to that, I suppose. So, all right, I gotta run. I'll see you later. Damn it. I gotta go, because the dinner, we have a reservation, and she made the reservation. Rob Glenn's gonna be on with me tomorrow. We're gonna be talking all kinds of sci-fi stuff and the news and why it matters and how we're at probably the smartest inflection point in human intellect because of the tools available to us, and we have the dumbest people running the fucking country that you could possibly have. That's kind of crucial. All right, that and much more tomorrow morning, and radio, afternoon show, and then radio, and then Sunday I'll be on Brian Karem's show. Tuesday I'm gonna be on Steph's show. Thursday I'm gonna be on the Terror show. Friday I got Flappers. Something else. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, do I have this window? I do. Hold on. Hold on. We gotta do this one. There we go. All right, I'm out. Sorry I don't have credits today. They weren't running right or something. All right.